Welcome into this very special update from Ask the Masters. We're going to go today. We're going off schedule. We're in completely unprecedented times here. At least in my lifetime, I don't remember anything like this. And so we want to keep you guys. We want to be the place where we can have all of our members be as up to date as possible. And joining me today, I've got our producer Randy Beard, but we also have Sabeena Hickman. So we wanted to go straight to the top and really get an update and find out what the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance is doing for the industry, and just get you as much information as we can. So thank you very much, Sabeena, for coming in this morning, and good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I appreciate, as I mentioned, the leadership for Ask the Masters to really garner the information and deploy that to our industry. It's times like this that as many resources and communication pieces that we can deliver is going to be very helpful to help our members and activate them through, this changing environment.
Yeah, it seems like moment by moment, everything is changing so rapidly. So can you just give us a little bit of of your perspective? You're in the DC area, and so you're kind of close to everything going on there. So can you kind of give us your overview perspective of what you're seeing from your vantage point?
Absolutely. So like everybody, we've been monitoring what's been coming out, and a lot of it's being deployed through the states and through executive order. What we've been focused on is really taking those pieces and really analyzing it and seeing how we can leverage that to benefit the pool and hot tub industry. The overarching messaging, I believe, for the industry is we really need to advocate that when it comes to public health and safety, we are essential workers in terms of we need to continue to maintain our pools and hot tubs. Otherwise, if we don't, pools will turn green. It'll be a breeding ground for mosquitoes, E. coli. We were very, very fortunate to have CDC issue the statement saying that COVID-19 there's no proof that it can be transmitted through pools and hot tubs. And we're really using that to leverage that for our industry.
Yeah, and we've done this coming week's podcast. We have Roy Vore on, microbiologist, and we go into a lot of that in this week's episode and last week as well. So we're really kind of trying to ease the minds of membership. So as you're kind of the head of the entire industry, can you tell us what you see? Can you kind of ease everybody's minds? Because it feels like every 10 minutes there's a new executive order from somewhere else in the country, and so kind of talk us through and do we need to be really concerned? I've read the reports that you're referencing, but maybe some of our listeners probably haven't. So can you kind of ease everybody's minds and really let us and give us the big hug we all need?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will direct you guys. PHTA on our website. We have a landing page dedicated to coronavirus. What is being sent out? There was something that was just issued by the Department of Homeland Security that speaks to essential workers. What we've done is we've taken that and analyzed it and pulled out points that can benefit our industry. In New York, I know they're issuing paperwork in terms of to fill out to turn into to deem yourself as an essential workforce. And what we've done is whether it's public works, public health, water or wastewater, critical manufacturing, chemicals, we've pulled all of that language out that our members can use to leverage as they fill out this paperwork. some of our members have called and said, how do I communicate to my customers? We've created a customizable piece, COVID-19, what you need to know, and it talks about everything they need to know. We don't want customers, even those that treat their own pools, we want them to know that our retail establishments are open. They're making accommodations like curbside pickup, ship to home appointments. So we're making adjustments, and we've created also a social media channel where we want to send tips out to our members in terms of how do you make adjustments through, these uncharted times. So from the national standpoint, what we're doing is creating letters and tools that we can deploy to the states, and they can utilize those when they're talking to lawmakers or communicating with their customers in terms of we're still open. Most of who I've spoken to will remain open. Even some of the companies out in California are, they're very adamant. We are essential to public health and safety. So we're going to stay open unless somebody tells us we can't stay open, especially with the chlorine and COVID-19 and how they're saying the sanitation. We feel as if we have a very strong talking point in terms of what we do in the arena of being essential. Construction, I know construction's a huge issue, and they're being, they're deemed as essential in some areas, but we're also saying if somebody started a pool job in the backyard, let them finish that because the safety concerns of leaving a construction site open. So more and more talking points are being developed for our members to use and deploy.
Sabeena, are you seeing this, the legislation coming from a federal aspect, or are you seeing this more locally, state by state?
It's more locally, state by state. We've got a software program called Statewide. We're going to start a page that tells you what's happening in all the states. We've got some tremendous, and I know you guys are going to be talking to them, tremendous folks leading the state organizations as well. And we've got this ongoing dialogue over email, and we're going to start meeting hopefully on a weekly basis to see what resources we can use for one another and how we can unify the industry and speak, speak globally and with the same messaging. And like I said, I'll say it again, the strongest messaging points for us is to fall on that whole public health and safety. But as you know, as things change on an hourly basis, it seems like, and in different areas, obviously starting with our friends out in California and now with Illinois and New York, we anticipate the other states will follow.
Yeah, and being out here, we're based out of California, and I run a construction company out here. And we have had a couple of local cities here in Southern California that have decided to close down. And it's actually, I take that back. We haven't had any cities close down pool construction yet. We have had specific neighborhoods within cities, HOAs that are not allowing any construction to happen within their gates. But yeah, the city of Los Angeles has deemed construction and home construction as essential services. But I want to kind of go back to, the thing that some people are thinking about, but others are not. Pools are seen as a luxury item, but the reality is that they left unkept, a pool becomes an actual health hazard. So I'm really happy to see that municipalities and states and everybody are coming to that realization that, the swimming pool needs to be cleaned. It's not, I was driving out to lunch yesterday to pick up lunch for the family, and I actually saw police had a landscape truck pulled over. And that got me thinking, if your grass grows too long, that's one thing, and it doesn't necessarily create a health hazard. But if your pool flips and turns green and starts growing mosquitoes, now you actually have a health hazard. So that really kind of changed my perspective on everything as well. I'm really happy to see that is that we're starting to turn the corner there.
Yeah, and it's like the first thing on most of the talking points that we've created. That's number one. What we don't want to do is do something. We don't want to create more issues in terms of, we've talked to folks, like a lot of service professionals, they're not even interacting with their customers. They come, they go to the backyard, they service the pool, and then they leave. So we're also talking about how it's not, it's not like restaurants with waitresses where they can get, within that 6 feet restriction. So, the more we communicate and educate, it's a passionate industry. Everyone's working together. But, it's hard to keep up with how I've never seen anything move this quickly in terms of state mandates. So, however, we've got the ability to learn, what you just shared about what you saw in California. Those are the stories we need to, share. I came from the lawn and landscape industry before this, and when you said that, part of my heart sunk. But yeah, we've got, we've got a lot in terms of the health aspect to really leverage, and we need to. That's a very strong talking point. It's something CDC supports, obviously, front and center on their website. And it's something that, our industry embraces.
Well, one of the things that I would love to see, if it could be embraced, really kind of talking about what you just said about a serviceman in the backyard doesn't necessarily interact. We did have one city locally that has shut down all inspections for interior spaces. But they're still doing exterior inspections so long as you can keep your social distancing. And to me, that's a brilliant accommodation. And for me, if I was in the landscape industry, that would be what I would be kind of playing up, is that there is very little interaction between, a guy mowing the lawn and a client, and they can maintain that safe social distancing. So that's a message that I'd really like to see kind of move across the country as people are starting to think about shutting down construction sites and everything. We're in a unique space. It doesn't necessarily take dozens of people mobilized at any one time when you're building most any aspect of a pool. So you can stay under that 10-person maximum, and you can keep your social distancing as well. And the fact that you're outside, you're not in a contained space. I would love to see that kind of a movement move across the country, because the reality is that there are a lot of construction workers and that really depend on the money that they make day to day, and they depend on their paychecks weekly. And I really fear that some of them are going to be hardest hit by this. So is there anything else that you can see? I really want to project forward as well. Do you see anything coming down the line? Do you have any concerns? Do you have anything that you can kind of bring us up to speed on that you see might be coming, that you guys are working on in a positive or a negative light?
So a couple things. I want to just tell you a little bit about where I am. And, we're based out of Virginia. We've got a headquarters out in Colorado and in Virginia. I will tell you, for our schools have been closed down, and we'll probably go to distance learning. I will tell you, residents here are trying to open up their pools early, and the service folks are saying we're backlogged, which, there's a demand to open up pools early. Typically, it's in the May time frame, late April, early May. But what they're hearing is, we're going to have to put you on the waiting list because we've had a warm winter, and it's starting. It was 80 degrees yesterday, So anecdotally, we're hearing the residential end of it. They're looking to open up their pools early because they want the kids to get out and get exercise and be safe and contained in their backyard. So, there could be, some positive that comes out of this. We issued something last night that went out that we want the industry to embrace. It's a letter from PHTA that talks about essential work classifications. We're asking members to use that to contact elected officials. It's a very strong piece that we've pulled information out of what came from Homeland Security to really position ourselves as essential workers. We need to do all that we can. We've got a robust chapter, a chapter system within PHTA. We're issuing tools and telling them, we're giving the members the tools to hopefully make a difference in their area. Federally, there's not as much that we can do. It's the states that are really going to have to kind of take what we've created and lobby for themselves. We're doing it in Maryland and DC and Virginia, obviously, and the Colorado area. There is one issue that we are working with is the J1 visas. A lot of the community pools are worried about getting their workers as we shut down borders. A lot of them come from Europe. So we're working with that coalition to determine what is our plan B in the event that we're not able to bring those workers over. Do we start promoting to the restaurant industry because they've done considerable layoffs? But that could be a pain point for those pool property managers and community pools. So something we're working with the coalition.
We heard that was an issue, Sabeena, a couple of years ago when we weren't able to get some of the plastering workers in the Northeast. So that, I think that's an important factor to get out, and applaud your leadership in that. 12 years ago, we went through an economic downturn, and it hurt some of us that were pool builders. So I think as now we've gone through this market crash, we need to look into 2020 and your leadership to make sure that we start to walk the walk and talk the talk, and understand that these staycations, staying at home, there's not going to be as many family trips to Europe. So I think we're looking to your leadership to make sure that we come out of this economic downturn and we can still build as many pools as possible. That pools are as important as RVs at a certain extent. Can you comment on the economic downturn?
Yeah. So we've got a tremendous amount of data that we're pulling together on not only the economic impact, but as you said, the benefits of staycations and pools, and so that's going to be kind of the second phase of our communication plan in terms of what we can create in terms of that whole consumer messaging when it comes to backyard pools and staycations. I do think people are going to be obviously afraid of traveling, and they're going to want to look for other ways to spend quality time with their family. So that will be something we will focus on. Obviously, it'll be kind of phase two once we start dealing. A lot of questions we're getting too in terms of the tax credits and the FMLA, and just what do I do with this new policy on sick leave. So right now we're working on almost the business aspect of it in terms of how educating our members on dissecting it in terms of what does it mean for me. But I do think there's an opportunity for us to really promote the value of pool construction, and that's definitely on the list for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree. Moving forward, once we get past the scariness of this whole thing, and once we kind of come out the other side, you can't underestimate the amount of trauma that families are going through this whole time. But yeah, I feel like the pool industry has a potential benefit at the backside of this as we come out of it, similar to what happened after 9/11, when people really ramped down their travel time, and everybody just kind of wanted to hunker down and stay with their families. So I'm really I think that's a podcast for another time. Right now we just really want to. Just from my perspective, the research that I've done, pools are not dangerous. The social distancing thing becomes a challenge if you want to, do lap swimming or anything like that. So I understand why pools are being shut down. But as we come out of this and some of the restrictions start to be eased, I really want to continue to get the message out that swimming, it's very hard. It's not impossible, but my understanding is very hard to transmit the disease through a swimming pool environment because of the chlorine levels and all of that. So I feel like we want to get those messages out for the broader, not even our industry, but have the industry get that out for the public well-being as well.
Yeah. Our government affairs director, Jennifer Hatfield, is based in Florida. And, she's she's working crazy hours, but she called me and she was like, I am so excited. I was just watching the news and they ended it saying, I know most of you are going to spend time in your backyard pool and that's what you should be doing.
Wow.
So she's like, there's like a glimmer of hope. We actually posted it on our COVID-19, but she's like, you can't, like, what a great message point. I also talked to Francine Gonzalez, is our chairman-elect, and she's with Whitewater, which does the water parks. She said that the biggest water park in China just opened, and she said,
oh, wow.
So 75 days after, so we were like counting, she's like, that, if we track like China, that has our opening date as May 15th, which isn't as bad as some people are predicting. But so as we've got this national association, some of our members are global, they're sharing with us, like Pool Corp's telling us we were deemed essential out in in Italy because of the the chlorine and what we provide in terms of. So it's interesting to hear, you look at some of these other countries where PHTA also participates in an international group, and we're sharing information like what's going on in your areas. They've said, whoa, we wish we had this information for PHTA when it hit us. So the more we can share and communicate and lessons learned, and, as you guys know, it's a very open, transparent industry with a lot of information sharing. We just need to band together and work through it. You guys are phenomenal. I will tell your listeners, if there's anything more PHTA can do, or if you have any ideas, please call me directly. The more information and ideas we can get and translate that into plans or collateral for the industry, that's what the National Association's here for. So
yeah, and that's really our goal here, is that this is the first of we're going to be speaking with all of the different regions throughout the country, Florida, California, and the Northeast, and we really want to just get the information out there for everybody so that everybody understands and knows what to do. Again, our phone line is going to be open for you as well. If you hear anything, please reach out directly to us. And as this continues to develop, we'll have you on as often as we need to, just to just to keep our finger on the pulse of everything and keep the industry up to speed. So thank you so much for coming on today. And I'm sure this is the first of a number of conversations. Hopefully not too long though. Hopefully we get through this real quickly.
We want to wrap it up. This is Sabeena Hickman, CEO of the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance. A great interview today. Love that and look forward to hearing from you as we progress through this pandemic.
Great. You guys are great. Again, thanks for your leadership, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.